that's my man, John Fox. I think that's my man.
Coach Fox?
I think, yeah, I'd recognize that raspy voice anywhere. Come on, man.
Was that Coach Fox?
I'm pretty sure it was Coach John Fox. He's an ESPN NFL analyst. He might be Coach Fox loves to fish. I used to cover him with the Denver Broncos. We might be sitting on the boat alone on the Julian Edelman rowing the Canton tree.
Coach, are you sure? Are you sure that was Coach Fox?
It
I don't want to.
Sounded like John Fox. Ed, was that John Fox? That sounded like John Fox to me. Are we waiting for confirmation? We're going to wait for confirmation.
I have no idea, but if that was Coach Fox, you need to call me.
All right, so here's the deal. Forever Foxborough. What you just heard there is Julian Edelman. He put out, it's 2021. How else would he do it? He put out a social media video, basically said, Michael Jordan faxed something that said, I'm back. Now you just Instagram and say, I'm gone. All right, so the bottom line is Edelman is done. 11, 12 years, all with the Patriots. Bill Belichick effusive in his praise. Yesterday, an amazing story, 7th-round draft pick, a college quarterback that turned into one of the sure-handed receivers for the greatest quarterback in league history. There is a Hall of Fame that I'm pretty sure that Edelman will be in. That would be the Pats Hall of Fame, who he's eligible to be in 2025. That other one with the gold jackets is a point of contention, and that this morning is our poll question. We'd love to hear from you. Is Julian Edelman, simply put, a Hall of Famer? 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. I'll get straight to my thoughts on Edelman here in a second, but Key, I think I'd be... Well, I just want to get your opinion as a wideout, as a Super Bowl champion, right? He's a wideout. He's a Super Bowl champion. He played for Bill Belichick. You know Bill quite well. Just from what you saw, from what he did in the postseason, his sort of rags to riches story, being Tom Brady's security blanket, coming up with huge plays when non-football fans, the world was watching. A Super Bowl MVP, by the way. He had 10 catches for 141 yards in the most offensively inept Super Bowl of all time, Pats Rams. So even in a game where nobody could score, this guy was the best offensive player on the field. Just your thoughts on a career cut short, which, by the way, due to the retirement, will net him some cash, but also will save the Pats $3.4 million in cap room. Every penny counts with a reduced salary cap.
Yeah, it's a good, you said rags to riches. It's a good story. Great documentary. Great for a book. All those sort of things, right? He was 7th-round pick. He played a position in the National Football League he had no experience at, coming out of Kent, where he was the quarterback, basically sort of like an option quarterback, but had a skill set that Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots liked, and they said, hey, we could draft this young man and turn him into potentially a Wes Welker type, Wayne Corbett type receiver with a little more skill set. But other than that, ain't nothing else. What else is there to talk about? He had a great career. 3 Super Bowl MVP, played well in the playoffs. What else is there to talk about? When you start talking about Hall of Fame, that ain't miss me with that.
All right, so
you can kill that game. That doesn't, and there's no disrespect to him. I like him. I've interviewed him. I think he's a great young man. He's a California kid. But don't do that. Don't do that to guys that are in the Hall of Fame or ones that are going into the Hall of Fame to say, based on postseason success, that Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer. That conversation is not even, like, who wants to have that conversation, though, man? Seriously.
If you want to have it with Key, give us a call, 888-SAY-ESPN. Give us a call either way, obviously. Is he or is he not? If you think he is and you want to get on the stump and make the case, 888-SAY-ESPN. If it's small, quick, and pithy, like Edelman himself, you could do it on Twitter as well, KeyJ and Z. So as I mentioned, it's 2021. Real quick, you got something, Key?
No, I was going to say I fell in love with him when they played Seattle in the Super Bowl, and he lined up on the outside edge of the numbers and ran a whip route. He kind of like, it's a slant, and he whipped it back out, put his foot in the ground and retraced. I was like, okay, that's the best they ever had in that spot in New England. Out of all those guys that are kind of clones, whether it's Deion Branch or Troy Brown or Wes Welker or Amendola, Edelman's the best one out of all those guys, in my opinion. But when you start talking about the gold jacket, it's kind of like You can't even, let's not do that to ourselves.
Okay, we should mention that he played in 3 Super Bowls, like you said, and you mentioned the Seattle Super Bowl. He really made his impact in the other 2 Super Bowls. The catch to defy gravity in the 28-3 comeback, he doesn't make that catch. That comeback doesn't happen, and the greatest Super Bowl rally of all time doesn't occur. And, you don't say this often. He made some really big catches in overtime of the Super Bowl, which is something not a lot of people have ever participated in. Here's my thing. You said this before. Who's the one guy you would swap careers with? You said you were very happy with what you were able to do in your professional career, but there is one guy, right? You said this on the show.
Jerry Rice is the only one.
Right.
Yeah.
So in terms of postseason receptions and yards, Edelman trails only Jerry Rice, 3 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl MVP. Story matters because some people would tell you as great as Kurt Warner was, and I think he's a slam dunk Hall of Famer, of course, and he's got the gold jacket to prove it. His story was also part of his romanticism of going from the supermarket to the Hall of Fame, yeah. And I do think Edelman has that story as well. I'm not saying he's surefire, but he was a key cog for a modern-day dynasty on the receiving end, shorthanded of the best quarterback of all time, played for the best coach of all time, was an integral part of all 3 Super Bowls, could have been the MVP of the other 2, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but he was the MVP of 1, and most importantly, in the biggest of moments, you hear Barkley say this in basketball, right? Just didn't have the ring. I can't sit at the table with Mike and Shaq and all those guys. Edelman's got the rings. He did it in the postseason. I don't remember every catch David Tyree had. I remember 1 for sure. I don't remember every pass Eli Manning threw. I remember 2 for sure in 2 big games. If those 2 guys are going to get the benefit of the doubt, most notably Eli, who probably will be inducted because of those 2 Super Bowl championships, why not give Edelman the benefit of the doubt for being a key cog in 3 of them and the story to boot?
Zubin, no.
I tried.
It's not, no, Zubin. Let's be real with each other. Play with the greatest quarterback of all times, possibly the greatest coach to ever live,
right,
in an organization that knew what to do in the postseason. It's nothing against his postseason career. He did a fabulous job. But no, let's just not. Just because a guy has statistics in the biggest games where they're throwing you the ball a lot because there's a mismatch there, stop, though. I mean, we can't do this. We just can't do this. Because when you start talking about the receiver position, there's guys out there named Torrey Hope. And there's guys out there named Steve Smith and Chad Johnson. I mean, there's Ocho Cinco. There's guys that are out there. Mm-hmm. So let's just stop it, please.
Well, hit us up, and it only seems appropriate. We already got 2 callers on the line, 1 for, 1 against. We are a 50-50 country after all. So.
Good player, man. Good documentary, good book. Hey, great story. But stop with the yellow jacket, man. You almost made me curse.
Rudy in Texas, Frank in Florida, hang on. And if you want to get on the line and you're with Key and adamantly agree with him that Edelman is in the Hall of Very Good, 888-SAY-ESPN. If you think he might be in and you want to rebut Key, same deal. Line it up. Your calls are next on whether Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. You heard Key's opinion?
I can't believe y'all trying to sell that, man.
There's people waiting to sell you next on whether Edelman is headed to Canton. After Key has this from our friends at, I do indeed think Edelman is a Hall of Famer.